they're getting $200–300 for the entire year. And you know what that means? That means that people who are retired in the suburbs, that means that struggling families, someone who loses a job, that they have higher property taxes. And that also means that people in Jersey City who live in those high-rise condos and Asbury Park that are living in those oceanfront condos, they're actually not sharing the burden of society because they're actually paying lower property taxes because of the system that's run amok and been hijacked by the Supreme Court. So I appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight. The biggest issue that people complain about, the economy and jobs, but it's really high property taxes. And until we have a fair system in New Jersey, until everybody has skin in the game, until it doesn't matter who your legislator is in Trenton to manipulate things, every citizen should be treated the same, regardless of who your elected official is, regardless of who you know in Trenton. And the fair school funding thing will do that. It will give everybody skin in the game and treat every student equally and fairly. So thank you for the opportunity to be here. I'm happy to take them. Yes?
I just want to know who we contact. How do we help to get this done?
Okay, the question was, how can we help make this happen? Well, you need to tell your family and friends. I mean, there's a lot of folks in Trenton that want this information embargoed. They say things like, they don't want you to know the massive transfer of wealth that's occurring. They don't want you to know that. Now you know you're very powerful. What you need to do is, you can ask your local elected officials to pass the resolution, which is in your packet. You can go to the website, you can download all this stuff. Ask your local elected officials to pass it, your Board of Education. You can talk to your school superintendent, say, hey, how come you're not supporting the Fair School Funding Plan? Your Board of Education members, your Township Committee, your county freeholders, your legislators, the governor. If you pass this resolution, the copy will go to the governor. It will go to the legislative leaderships on both the Democrat and Republican side of the House. Yes?
All of these abuses you've mentioned, could that be summed up under, quote, the Abbott School Plan?
Well, look, we have a school funding formula right now that encourages manipulating the numbers you report to Trenton. And this is not me saying this. This is two major reports that were issued by the state of New Jersey. One by our state auditor, Stephen Ells, found out that 37% of the students signed up for this program for the free lunch were actually ineligible. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking hundreds of millions, maybe $1 billion a year is being fraudulently diverted. People who are ripping the system off. The same thing with the real estate values. Every time these Abbott districts go to court, and look, there's good folks in the Abbott districts, I'm not beating them up, but then again, there's folks that are using this as a power, political patronage system. Every time they go to court, they always cry about not having the proper real estate values. And I'm sorry, come up to Hunterdon and Warren County that I live in sometime and look at all the farms. We have no businesses. We have the Highlands Act, which is like the Pine Lands Act. We have the Highlands Act shutting down our economy. And, excuse me, we're at $36 billion, and Jersey City, the Gold Coast of New Jersey, is at $20 billion in real estate value. I think they're underreporting their real estate in Jersey City.
Would you say this is buying votes for certain senators?
Well, it's buying a lot of jobs, a lot of money. I mean, you're talking a lot of money. When you're spending $25,000 a student, there's folks that have looked at the preschool in Asbury Park and saying that they're spending more on preschool students per student in Asbury Park than the tuition at Rutgers University for an entire year. It's crazy. Yes?
If the Supreme Court could violate the Constitution as it is now, as far as school funding goes, why wouldn't they do the same thing with your amendment? I mean, how did they get away with it?
Well, look, I think you have to have, the voters don't know this. Let me just tell you what I did when I was a freeholder. I had a similar situation. I was hauled into court. They wanted me to give $5 million for Warren County Community College to expand. And the president came to me and said, hey, we're bursting at the seams. You need to give us $5 million. But we were not having classes on Friday. So I asked him, I said, gee, how come you're not having classes on Friday? And he said, students don't go to college on Friday anymore. And I said, well, when they do in Warren County, come back and we'll talk. But no, you're not getting the $5 million. So he sued me. He said, you got to give us the money. And so I was hauled in there. We have 3 freeholders, and me and the other freeholder that were saying, no, we're hauled into court. We were held in contempt of court by the judge. The judge ordered us to give him the $5 million. I said, I'm sorry, Judge, I'm upholding my oath of office. My oath of office. We're supposed to make these decisions. I can't turn over this power to this bureaucrat or the court. I said, go ahead. I'm not doing it. Do whatever. He held me in contempt of court, said, you're going to jail, Doherty. We were supposed to go to jail on a Monday, and on a Friday they backed off. See, I think that's what elected officials need to do. Stand with the Constitution and say, we have the constitutional authority. And I think that's why they haven't sued the legislature. Not too many people know this. This is actually dynamite information. The fact that they didn't sue the legislature sort of shows you where they're going, that they're afraid of suing the legislature, perhaps, because we would tell them to drop dead, or we have the power to tell them to drop dead. And the other thing you can do is start asking your elected officials what they think about this issue. And there's one thing that frightens elected officials. You know what that is? Being unemployed. So, hey, you know what? Vote them out of office. If you don't like what they're doing, vote for somebody who does support the Fair School Funding Plan, and we'll stand up to the Supreme Court. Yes. Oh, you're adjusting the camera. Yes.
Way over there, too.
When a child is in school, he is subjected to mind control. It's the law.
Please speak up.
Once your child is in school, they can teach that child anything they want to. It's the law. And I can even quote to the sources. Now, do you believe in separation of school and state, or state and school? Do you believe in vouchers? I would like to give vouchers to the parents, and it's the parents' responsibility to teach that child.
Yes, I think this is the first step to getting there. I think our public schools in the suburban areas work very effectively. They provide a great education, but we have chronically failing schools, and chronically, by every measure, they're not educating the students. So what I'm saying is, my Fair School Funding Plan is the first step, because once we say that every student gets the same amount of money, guess what? That money now becomes a little bit more fungible. And I believe the next step is that student, that money should go with that student, and if they're in a failing school district, let's start there, that they should be able to take that $7,481 and go to a parochial school or a private school, a charter school, any school other than the lousy school they're going to right there. So, thank you. I think we had a question. Yes, over here.
Two questions. First of all, how did the judicial branch usurp this power from the legislative branch back in, what, 1944, whatever? That's question one. And two, is if in fact you don't change the people in the judicial branch, how are you going to change the funding for the out?
Well, I think that the future looks a lot better because Governor Christie had a person he put on, Ann Patterson, this year, and next year he's going to have 2 additional appointments to the Supreme Court.
2 out of how many?
Out of 7.
All right.
So
That's my point.
So Governor Christie is going to have the opportunity here to really radically change our court and have it be a court that respects the Constitution. And I don't know why the legislature gives away its power. I will tell you that somehow they've been hoodwinked into doing that. And when we should be able to stand up for our constituents. And we have a system right now where every year we essentially wait with bated breath for the latest Abbott lawsuit, wait for the court to tell us how we messed up again and how much we have to send. And they did it this year. They said, hey, you guys messed up. You have to send another $500 million to these Abbott districts, and we're ordering you to reconvene and to put additional $500 million into the budget, and you guys are supposed to vote for it. I'm sorry, I never read that in civics books when I was growing up, and I went to law school, and I never remember that in law school, how the court controls our vote. So I think we need elected officials that respect the Constitution, who respect their constituents, who respect themselves, and will not have their votes controlled by anybody sitting on a bench. You know who my boss is? My boss is the people that put me in office, not the judges sitting on the bench. Okay. Yes, I'm wrapping it up. And I have a one-pager. There's also a one-page document that compares all that information is summarized in one page. I'll leave it up here at front, and if you want, you can get a copy when you have a break. And it compares Wall Township to Asbury Park, all the money sent in, all the money coming out, and feel free to send that around to your friends and let them know. Thank you very much. Keep up the great work. Pleasure to see you.